Who wants to join the EU the most? So here's the current map of all the European Union members. There's a total of 27, but that could very likely grow in the future. It's not always that easy though for this massive organization to let new places in. At the end of this data, I'm going to talk about which country I think is the most likely to actually join in the future. But right now, Albania wants to join the most at 94%. You'll notice a theme here in the pockets of non-EU territory. Well, these places are of course going to want to join the EU. So start off the list, we've got Albania. Now, Albania actually does already border an EU member, so it does make sense. Then we have another bordering country, that's Kosovo at 90%. Now, to be fair, Kosovo is going to be a little bit harder to get in there. First of all, they don't border an EU member. Not that that really matters, but they're also not recognized by Serbia. Even more awkwardly, though, we've got Ukraine at 87%. Remember that just because a country really wants to join the EU doesn't mean they can let that happen. Maybe one day for Ukraine, but the whole war probably has got to end first. And I'm sure the EU would love Ukraine to get in there, but then we got Georgia at 83%. This seems to be the name that I see tossed around a lot lately. Not the state, the country, don't worry USA. But this is all the way across the Black Sea, but I've seen a lot of EU expansion, talks about going into the Caucasus Mountains. And there's Montenegro at 83%, Bosnia at 83%, North Macedonia at 79%, Moldova's only at 61%. The numbers are getting lower, but that's still a majority. Then there's Turkey, who's been waiting since the 80s to join the EU. Pretty sure they submitted first to join back in like 83 or something. Sorry, that was 1987. In 1999, Turkey was granted candidate status, but yeah, it's been frozen for quite some time now. Again, I already mentioned it, but there's so many things that go into accepting new EU members, like especially for a country like Turkey, which would be the new most populated EU member. It would be insanity. That would be a very difficult thing to do. Finally, there's the chance the UK rejoins. They're at 48%. Then Iceland, Serbia, Norway, who has like a special status, and then of course Switzerland. Dang, Switzerland does not really want to join. They're only 7%. Switzerland might be one of the only countries on this list that it would actively hurt. Probably Switzerland and Norway. Those are pretty rich countries as it is. Yeah, so in my opinion, I think the most likely out of all these to join, probably the most recent, is probably the UK. I mean, they were already in it. I think if they were to somehow hold another vote in the next like 5 years, then yeah, we might see them secretly. Well, that's already been happening a little bit with like all the talks with Trump and the tariffs. It has pulled the UK and EU slightly closer together now, more than before.